أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله، ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. أما بعد، يقول الله تعالى في محكم كتابه الحكيم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولا تحسبن الذين قتلوا في سبيل الله أمواتا بل أحياء عند ربهم يرزقون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Brothers and sisters, respected elders, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Firstly, we send our condolences to the Imam of our time, Ajjallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, and to all our grand scholars and the entirety of the Ummah on the tragedy of Karbala on the day of Ashura. On a night like this, on the night of Ashura, the companions and the family of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein were in their tents with their lightly dimmed candles, worshipping, praying, supplicating through the night, and saying their final farewells to one another. Inshallah, we'll begin our program in the best of ways with the words of the Holy Quran by our dear beloved brother Ali al-Musharafawi. If you could please welcome him with a loud salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد من الله على المؤمنين إذ بعث فيهم رسولا من أنفسهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين. أولما أصابتكم مصيبة قد أصبتم مثليها قلتم أنى هذا قل هو من عند أنفسكم إن الله قدير وما أصابكم يوم التقى الجمعان فبإذن الله وليعلم المؤمنين وليعلم الذين نافقوا وقيل لهم تعالوا قاتلوا في سبيل الله أو ادفعوا قالوا لو نعلم قتالا لاتبعناكم هم للكفر يومئذ أقرب منهم للإيمان يقولون بأفواههم ما ليس في قلوبهم والله أعلم بما يكتمون الذين قالوا لإخوانهم وقعدوا لو أطاعونا ما قتلوا قل فادرءوا عن أنفسكم الموت إن كنتم صادقين ولا تحسبن الذين قتلوا في سبيل الله أمواتا بل أحياء عند ربهم يرزقون فرحين بما آتاهم الله من فضله ويستبشرون بالذين لم يلحقوا بهم من خلفهم ألا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون يستبشرون بنعمة من الله وفضل وأن الله لا يضيع أجر المؤمنين الذين استجابوا لله والرسول من بعد ما أصابهم القرح للذين أحسنوا منهم واتقوا أجر عظيم الذين قال لهم الناس إن الناس قد جمعوا صدق الله العلي العظيم. الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
Ahsant. Tayyiballah and Fasik, thank you very much for that beautiful recitation and for the great verses that you had picked for tonight. Jazakallah khaira jaza. Inshallah, we will continue with our program with Ziyarat Ashura on this final night. So inshallah, we can all take our hearts and soul to Karbala. And if you could please help me in welcoming our dear Hajj al-Ansari with a salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أزور سيدي ومولاي ذخري وذخيرتي في آخرتي ودنياي، مولاي وسيدي أبا عبد الله الحسين، أصالة عني ونيابة عن مولاي صاحب الزمان، وعن والدي ووالد والدي وأخواني وأخواتي وجيراني وأقربائي ومن قلدني الزيارة قربة إلى الله تعالى. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، يا خيرة الله وابن خيرته، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور، السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك، عليك مني عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. سيدي يا أبا عبد الله، لقد عظمت الرزية وجلت وعظمت المصيبة بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام، وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك في السماوات على جميع أهل السماوات، فلعن الله أمة أسست أساس الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت، ولعن الله أمة دفعتكم عن مقامكم وأزالتكم عن مراتبكم التي رتبكم الله فيها، ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم، ولعن الله الممهدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم ومن أشياعهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم. سيدي يا أبا عبد الله، إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم إلى يوم القيامة. ولعن الله آل زياد وآل مروان، ولعن الله بني أمية قاطبة، ولعن الله ابن مرجان، ولعن الله عمر بن سعد، ولعن الله شمرا، ولعن الله أمة أسرجت وألجمت وتنقبت لقتالك بأبي أنت وأمي، بأبي أنت وأمي، لقد عظم مصابي بك. فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني طلب ثار مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيها بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة يا أبا عبد الله. إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالمراءة ممن قاتلك ونصب لك الحرب، وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس الظلم والجور عليكم. وأبرأ إلى الله وإلى رسوله ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانه وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى أشياعكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم، وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم والبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحرب، وبالبراءة من أشياعهم وأتباعهم جميعا. إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن عاداكم. فأسأل الله الذي أكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم وارزقني البراءة من أعدائكم أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة، وأن يثبت لي عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة. وأسأله أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله، وأن يرزقني طلب ثأري مع إمام هدى ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم. وأسأل الله بحقكم وبالشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يعطيني بمصابي بكم أفضل ما يعطي مصابا بمصيبته، مصيبة ما أعظمها وأعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا ممن تناله منك صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد، ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن آكلة الأكباد اللعين ابن اللعين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل موطن وموقف وقف فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم لعن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية عليهم منك اللعنة أبد الآبدين. وهذا يوم فرحت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فضاعف عليهم اللعنة منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم واللعنة عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. اللهم لعن 100 مرة أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم لعنهم جميعا. السلام عليك 100 مرة يا سيدي يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم together. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خص أنت أول ظالم باللعن مني، وابدأ به أولا ثم لعن الثاني والثالث والرابع. اللهم لعن يزيد خامسا، ولعن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجانا وعمر بن سعد وشمرا وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. سجود. اللهم لك الحمد، اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين لك على مصابه. الحمد لله على عظيم رزيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود، وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام. وصل اللهم على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين.
أحسنتم حاج طيب الله أنفاسكم. Thank you so much for that heartfelt recitation. Jazakumullah khair al-jaza. If we could please have the children from the brothers section and the sisters section to get prepared to join the children's program, that'll be great inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For our next segment, alhamdulillah, we're very fortunate to have a dear brother back with us again. MashaAllah, he had an amazing speech last year and we're not expecting anything less from him this year, inshallah. So if we could all please join me in welcoming our dear brother Ibrahim al-Zubaydi with a salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
This here is a poem about on the deed. It inspired me. It let me feel the pain of Hussein, an era void of rain. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allow me to set the scene. 50 years have passed since Muhammad, the messenger, breathed his last. His grandson Hassan, also recently martyred, smell of poison still fresh from his grave. Heart swayed like grass in the wind, following bitumen, following cinnamon like Yazid, who in turn craved allegiance to breathe. Legitimacy to the kingdom that he claimed. He sought the hand of Hussein, son of Ali and Fatima. Peace upon them until the day of Qiyamah. Took his family to Mecca, to the home of the Kaaba, birthplace of his father, to avoid any drama, but Yazid pushed harder. The people of Iraq said, please come to Kufa, please come and be our master. Hussein wasn't sure if the letters could be trusted. He sent a representative, his cousin, Muslim. Son of Aqil, grandson of Abu Talib, rode fast to Iraq to meet the people who were calling. They greeted and applauded, arms open. He was hoping they'd continue their support if times got tough, because it would only get tougher. The people got together for the son of Mustafa, raising the banner of Labbaik on the surface. To his face they recounted memories of Hussein, who, as a young man, walked down the alleyways, feeding the hungry, guiding the strays. And to those that went out, killed a caliph in the masjid. Yeah, we miss the son of Ali. Please call him today to come and be our leader. Muslim wrote a letter to his master Hussein to leave Hajj, leave Mecca, and begin to make his way with his family. Only Allah knew that Muslim would be dead within days. Situations change. No time is the same. Yazid, knowing this, sent a wild beast to tame. The callers of Hussein end for fortune and favor from the king. He took pleasure in torture and pain. The son of Ziyad had his messengers go out in the streets to proclaim those that failed to obey will be dealt with. So Muslim all of a sudden lost thousands of helpers. Can you imagine this stranger alone? No family or friends far away from his home now. All he saw were empty roads and closed doors, roaming the streets when just hours before. Many members idle, all ready for war now. Muslims sat in the home of a poor lady. Kufa streets are crazy. Her son sold him out to the police to detain him. But Muslim fought back. The soldiers underestimated this man's attack, couldn't handle the force that Muslim brought upon himself. After hours of battle and many dead brothers, the chief of police had a guarantee of safety. No one will kill you, just come with me quietly. Muslim was thirsty, his throat was dry with blood in his mouth. He praised the Most High. Son of Ziyad didn't guarantee nothing. You're gonna die today on the roof of this building. Cut off his head and dropped his body to the ground and hanged the remains in front of his hometown. Drowning in tears, Muslim stood exhausted. They mocked his appearance. Aren't the Hashimis the hardest warriors? But you're shaking from fear. He said, don't cry for me. Hussein's on his way here. This is a story of torment and grief. It's only just begun. Hussein's yet to bleed. He's just left Mecca, arming to free the souls of the people and answer the pleas. This is a story of torment and grief. It's begun. Hussein's yet to bleed. He's just left Mecca to find some peace, to worship in private and teach. This is a story of torment and grief. It's only just begun. Hussein's yet to bleed. He's just left his mother's grave to save his enemies from the curse of Yazid. So as he travels through the dust, Hussein knows many men because of greed and lust will try to make his journey more dangerous, but he has to keep going, and Allah is his trust. He must challenge the status, call eyes a favor of knowledge and praise of the dance and dice players. In the distance he sees men approaching, slowly advancing, cautiously coming to ask for an audience. Thirsty for walking, check the surroundings, 1,000 soldiers with 2,000 horses. Begging for water, Hussein can't deny the request, so he orders his brothers and helpers to quench his opponent's thirst. And this is surely a first. If you know what's to come, then this is what hurts. The sons of Hussein generously dispersed water to animals, water to beasts. War's on its way now, it's greetings of peace. As Hussein leaves the prayer in the ground in a heap, soldiers follow but don't allow a retreat. The chief of the army doesn't know where to stand. His name is Hur, translate free man. He wants to let Hussein walk away from this land, but the fear is Yazid and it's hard to withstand. More troops are coming against only a few, and he ended 30,000 against 72. Curfew on Kufa, still some true supporters of the Master of Heaven pray he makes his way through, but this is as far as Hussein could advance. Doesn't want to cause blood to be shed. He was asked, what is this place? Do you know its name? The story begins as Hussein explains. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Ahsant, Jazakallah khairan, Jazak, Barakallah Feek. There's something special about Ibrahim al-Zubaydi and being able to do amazing poetry. Jazakallah khairan, Jazak. Thank you so much. MashaAllah, this dear brother's poetry kind of goes perfectly into our next segment, which is Abbas alayhi salam, which many of you here may have heard. Alhamdulillah, over the last 10 nights, the vast majority of the Quran reciters that we had and the brothers who recited Ziyarat Ashura have been from Dar Imam al-Askari alayhi salam, which is an organization run by many of the beautiful faces that you see here, which helps them to motivate one another and teach the younger kids to recite the Holy Quran and to memorize it. And we have a small promotional video just to promote them, inshallah, and the amazing work that they are doing. So if you could please help us with the Salat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
seeing myself progressing. So, like, when you see yourself progressing, it definitely gives you that pleasure, that satisfaction. And that's pretty much the reason I go. So, it just changed from being a burden to now being a daily activity that I look forward to. And I'm always constantly thinking about during the week. Well, if I do finish memorizing the Quran, which inshallah I will, I would probably make sure, like, in the future, that my kids will memorize it. I might even be their teacher, just like my uncle is my teacher. And yeah, probably just like pass on what I've learned to others and the next generation. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا نزلنا الذكر وإنا له لحافظون
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Honestly, an absolutely amazing initiative. May Allah bless each and every single one of them. And I'd just like to point out that all these 10 nights, we never had any glitches or anything. Subhanallah, the one time we're primarily focusing on the Quran in this way, the shaitan's trying to deceive us. So don't let that stop you from supporting these brothers and the great work that they're doing. Please give towards it's amazing, the younger generations. When I visited them a few times, just seeing the the environment that they've created, may Allah bless them. It's absolutely amazing. Inshallah, with that, we'll go into our 5-minute break, and inshallah, we'll continue the program. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Test.
أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد. الثانية غفر الله لكم. الثالثة على حب إمام الحسين بأعلى أصواتكم. Brothers, if I could please ask you to come to the front as much as you can. MashaAllah, we're having great numbers attending tonight, so please try to make space for those that are newly walking in. And brothers near the kitchen, sorry to disturb your beautiful conversations. If you could please join us, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. Sisters, if you could just make sure that there is space if there is anyone new that's coming in, so that there's space for them as well. Jazakumullah khair jaza. Just two quick announcements, inshallah, before we continue with our program. Firstly, some lost properties, some of them people did go and take it. It's just at the back near the entrance. If any of these belong to you or you know who they belong to, please collect them, as tonight is the last night for this program. So we kindly ask everybody to please collect their items. Jazakumullah khair. And if we could please go to the next slide. Just with regards to our Ashura program tomorrow, inshallah, just as a reminder, it's going to begin at 9 a.m. at Al Risala Center in Craigieburn. Inshallah, the maqtal will be recited by our beloved Sayyid Gharabi. It will be mostly in the English language with some Arabic poetry as well. So we would love to see all of you there, inshallah, tomorrow at 9 a.m. With that, inshallah, we would love to welcome our dear Sayyid. As I have mentioned in the past, unfortunately for these 10 nights, this will be the last time that he's going to bless us with his words, but inshallah, definitely not the last. Inshallah, he'll be with us back here soon, or maybe we could be with him, inshallah, in Qom. As many of you know, we are infinitely thankful and grateful for the Sayyid. Due to circumstances, we needed a speaker 2 days before Muharram. When I called him and his family were packing their bags, ready to go back to Qom. And may Allah bless him, he was so graceful and he said, you know, definitely if you guys need a speaker and I can be of any service, I'm more than happy to help. So we are infinitely thankful. Jazakallah khaira jaza. With that, if we could please welcome him with a salawat Muhammadiyya, Alawiyya, Fatimiyya, Husayniyya, bi'a'la aswatikum.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. Because this is the last nights, please also consider, this is a wonderful, wonderful program, and the youth are coming together to do this. So I want a very loud salawat for the parents of the youth that have raised their children in this community against the trend to put something like this together. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And a third one, so that we, insha'Allah, continue this line and become the soldiers of their Imam. May his reappearance be hastened. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أما بعد قال الله في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله الذي خلقكم من ضعف ثم جعل من بعد ضعف قوة ثم جعل من بعد قوة ضعفا وشيبا يخلق ما يشاء وهو العليم القدير. By now you should have memorized this ayah. 10 nights in a row we've been saying it. I haven't changed the ayah. See how easy it is to memorize the Holy Quran? You just have to listen. Easy. And the translation as well? Same thing. God is the one that created you from weakness, and from weakness came your strength, and from strength your weakness and old age. He creates what he wills. He is the all-knower, the all-powerful. Just keep that part in mind. Allah. Allahu alladhi khalaqakum. We'll come back to that. Tawheed with regards to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where He is the one that has the rububiyyah. He is the manager of everything. We'll come back to that in a minute. And before we start, there's a lot of before we start tonight because I have to fit everything in this last one. And I know I'm going to forget at the end. I apologize for any of the mistakes that I have done, any of the errors. I know there may have been slip-ups with the tongue. I do and have tried to correct anything that was a major mistake, whether it was on the spot or the next night. But again, my apologies for anything or any shortcomings. If I have offended anyone in any way, please accept my apologies. And if you do, please recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For that, I thank you. This is the final night. This is the night of the 10th. Last night, we spoke about responsibilities and obligations. And we have obligations at different stages of our lives, whether we are husbands or wives or students or teachers or educators or mentors or doctors or engineers, whatever we may be. We have obligations at different points in our lives. Obligations to our communities. So even if you see a dog that is thirsty on the street or a plant that hasn't been watered, that is also an obligation. Prioritize those obligations, inshallah, and make sure you've written it down. Brothers and sisters, I started with this and I'll end tonight with this. Muharram should be a movement for us. Muharram is a revolution. The revolution will continue, but it's your choice whether you want to be part of that revolution or not. Without you, it will continue to go on. Wallah, it will continue to go on. There's no question about that. The revolution of Imam Hussein. Our choice is to be part of it. How do we be part of it? We have to continue to move. We have to be moving. Remember in muhasabah, we as Shia, we have to be doing muhasabah, accounting of ourselves. Was I a better person today than I was yesterday? If I'm not, that's problematic. So this Muharram, if I haven't made it clear for you, especially the youth, if it hasn't been made clear, let me make it clear one more time. What is your goal? What is your purpose? At least choose one thing that you're going to do better than any other year and stick to it for the rest of the year until the next Muharram, where you're going to choose another one. Can you do 2? Next year, do 2. Can you do 3? Do 3 at a time. That way, when you reach the age where you're full of regret and your knees are too old for you to pray, you know how you say, oh, I'm going to pray Salatul Layl when I get older. I'm going to go to Hajj when I get older. I'm going to go do this when I get older. The Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this is ضعفًا وقوة. ضعفًا وقوة. Sorry. ضعفًا وشيبة. Right? When you're old, you're ضعيف, you've got old age, and you think you have all these projects that you want to do in the future. Now is the time. Now. Don't let go of these opportunities while you're young. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a program for you. It starts at least with Salatul Fajr. Okay, I'm talking to myself here. Stay awake. Stay awake. Before that, there's Salatul Layl. Can you do that? Your day starts. You know the most famous people out there at that hour, and yet, what do we do? It's good if you wake up for the prayers. No. Run with the program. We have a program. This is a movement. Be part of this revolution. Improve yourself. Keep moving. Don't stay where you are. You go stale. That's not what we want. Keep moving. Now, with regards to the questions, I have one question that I've prepared for and another question that keeps coming to me. Let's go with the one that I've prepared for from the Slido. How is saying Ya Ali or praying for what we want through the Imams not shirk? It makes sense. The question makes sense. It's a good question. Every time I want to say something, Ya Ali. Every time, Ya Imam al-Rida, Ya al-Banin, Ya Abul Fadl al-Abbas. Go straight to God. Why are you doing this? There is an answer to this. And it's a very obvious answer. First of all, well, actually, there's 3 points, so let's go through them. First of all, is it shirk when you drink water? Is it shirk when you say, Ya Hussein? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Who? Raise your hand. Yeah. They're scared, okay. All right, if you don't think it's shirk, raise your hands. Okay, some are like, on the edge, is like, I don't know. Is this a trick question? It's not shirk. What are we doing? Ya Hussein, I remember you, O Hussein, for the thirst that you went through when they slaughtered you, when they martyred you, when they trampled you. I saying, that's not shirk. In the Holy Quran, there's a lot of wadhkur, wa'idh, right? There's no problems with remembering these things. So, in conclusion, number 1, to say Ya Hussein, to remember his thirst, is not shirk. To say Ya Ali, to remember his power, his strength, his qudra, his quwwah, the man who lifted the door in Khaybar by himself that 40 men couldn't carry. Those stories that we have of Imam Ali and his strength, what are we doing? We are doing remembrance of his strength. So when I get up and I need strength to get up, I say, Ya Ali, for his strength, just like I say Ya Hussein. For quenching my thirst, I will say Ya Ali for strength. The second is theological intention. What is your intention? Are you saying Ya Ali because Ali, Amir al-Mu'mineen, alayhi salam, is the one that's going to give you what you need and want? Or Imam Rida alayhi salam, or al-Baneen alayhi? Any of those? No. This is an intercession. Just like when you go to court. I was discussing this with one of my family members, and she gave me this idea. She goes, you go to court, right? You take a lawyer. You have to take a lawyer with you, right? You can represent yourself, sure, but you don't have much of a chance. Number one, you don't know the laws, you don't know how to talk, the way that you talk, the way you present yourself, so you get a lawyer. They will intercede on your behalf, act on your behalf, and they will talk to the judge in a particular way. Why don't we think about it in this way? We're looking for intercessors. But if you're thinking that Imam Ali alayhi salam or Imam Hussein alayhi salam or Imam Rida alayhi salam khalaqakum, this is tawheed. Remember that he is the one that created you. He is the one that manages all affairs, right? These individuals that we have as intercessors help us get through to what we need. That's all. At the end of the day, the decision remains with the judge. The decision remains with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And finally, a Quranic point of view. Today is Jum'ah. I was speaking to my mother. I was thinking, okay, how do I answer this question? She goes, I'm going to go read Dua Nudba. I was like, oh my God, Dua Nudba. What does Dua Nudba say? When we are calling upon the Imam of our time. Yabna al-ulum al-kamila. He is the son, the Imam, is the son of al-ulum al-kamila, the complete science. Who is the Medina or the city of knowledge? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallu ala Muhammad. Who is the door to that city? Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. The Imam is the son. Yabna al-Sirat al-Mustaqim. Who is the Sirat al-Mustaqim? Ali alayhi salam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Yabna al-Naba al-Azim. The Naba means a great piece of news. Al-Azim means something that's significant. So we're duplicating here. The great significant piece of news. Now, of course, the Mufassir. This is a narration from a Sunni source. روي الحافظ محمد بن مؤمن الشيرازي عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم قال في تفسير عما يتساءلون. This is a Sunni reference that's saying we're going to have a look at what the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said with regards to this عما يتساءلون. He said this, according to this reference, ولاية علي يتساءلون عنها في قبورهم. The wilaya of Imam Ali alayhi salam that they're going to get asked about in their graves. Yesterday, what did we talk about very briefly? Talqeen. What parts of Talqeen did we mention? Tawheed is going to get asked about. Man Rabbuk? Who's your Nabi? What's your book? What's your religion? Who's your Imam? These are the questions that you're going to get asked in the grave. May it be easy for all of us. From a Shia source, from Shaykh al-Mafid, where he says, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم ذكر الله عز وجل عبادة. The remembrance of Allah is ibadah. وذكري عبادة. This is the Prophet talking, right? The Prophet is saying, my remembrance is ibadah, is worship. وذكر علي عبادة. The remembrance of Imam Ali is ibadah. So, short answer. Is it shirk? No. Unless you think they are autonomous. Long answer is the points that I've given. It is remembrance. That's what we're doing. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The second question, and I'll go through this quickly, although I think it's an important one. I've been asked, this wasn't on the platform, this kept coming to me personally. With regards to the dowry that I mentioned, There seems to be an issue with regards to the dowry everywhere, by the way. Everywhere. This is not the only place where dowry is an issue. Let me give you an example. In Iran, where they're called the so-called third world country, right? It's developing, they're considered, their mahr goes into the hundreds of thousands of dollars Australian, their dowry. Here, where it's a first world country, my understanding that it's much lower than that. It should be the other way around, at least, right? It should be the other way around. That's a fact. I'm giving you a fact, okay? We need to account. I'm going to give you 4 quick points. We need to take into account that the lady, the sister sitting on this side, is going to be pretty much sacrificing everything that she studied for, worked for, university, whatever, to come and live with you and be, more or less, your future partner, your spouse. She will have to sacrifice a lot. You have to sacrifice a lot, sisters. Keep remembering that the boys also have to sacrifice. Not everything they earn is now theirs. They have to share it with you. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. This is not a sale, and this needs to be really, really clear. Marriage is in the door or the chapter of transactions, yes. But this is not a sale. It's called a sadaq, where you're gifting your wife in honor. You're honoring your wife. This is what you're doing. Now, you can't do it immediately. That's okay. Tell her, look, and be smart about it. Be smart. Look, the ring's going to cost $5,000. I was told, I don't know how much rings cost now, but a ring might cost $1,000 to $5,000. The fridge is going to cost this. The sofa's I'm going to have to do all of this. How about, can we maybe negotiate and maybe say that part of the dowry is going to be furnishing the house? Would you accept that? If you want to go to Sayyidah Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, didn't she gift all of her dowry through the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam so that it can furnish the house? Okay. So it's not like, don't think, how much does it cost to furnish a house nowadays? Just furnish the house. Fridge, carpets, sofas, beds, car. What else do you need? TV. You need a TV. Okay, we'll have it. All right, let's buy a TV. Couple of iPhone, a couple of very expensive phones. How much is that going to cost? I don't know. 50, 60, 70, what is it going to cost? Maybe it'll take a few years to build that up. Maybe we can't have all these things now. Maybe we need time. Maybe we need to rent first. Sayyidah Fatima Zahra alayhi salam and Imam Ali alayhi salam did. They rented. They rented to start their life. Don't, negotiate. Be smart about it. It's not like cash in hand. Here you go. Hard, cold cash in a suitcase with the men in black uniform. No. Be smart about it. And with regards to the contract, also be smart about it. Both sides. It's not just زوجتك نفسي وقبلت and that's it, everybody's honky-dory. No. Have a certain level of understanding between each other. Okay? صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Okay. Actually, he reminded me of a story of a very big scholar. It was at the start of his speech. He was about to start speaking, and he was saying, please come forward. Nobody was listening. Everybody was told, I don't know. It just didn't happen. Anyway, somebody in the middle, a young man, like Haj Hashim, mashallah, young and handsome, gets up and says, if everyone takes a step forward, everybody can fit in. So everybody took a step forward. And the scholar, mashallah, he was like, he said, I don't need to be here. What that young man said is all I need to say. Brothers and sisters, this Muharram, this is what it's about. Just one step, everybody can fit in. Take that one step this year. Don't lose this opportunity. It's another year of your life that's going to go. Don't look forward to your birthday. That's just another step closer to your Use this opportunity. It's golden. Okay. So we've done the questions. Let's start the main course. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. So we'll start off with a story of a man by the name of Ayatollah Hujjat. After the World War, the Second World War finished, the Americans left. They had a camp very close to the Haram of Sayyidah Ma'suma alayhi salam. They had barracks there. Anyway, this man, he buys this block of land very close to the Haram, turns it into a school. He's now buried there. Very important, very big school. Madrasat Hujjatiyya, it's called. He's, like I said, he's buried there. Anyway, this man, it's amazing. You know, these martyrs, they know they're martyrs before martyrs. They know about their death. Listen to the story. This man, he said one of the days on a Monday, it was a Monday apparently, he said, what's this noise that's going on? Why is there so much hullabaloo on the roof? His son-in-law, also very famous, Atal Ha'iri, he says, they're fixing the ceiling. He said, let them go. Let them go. I don't want this noise. Why? What's wrong? They're fixing the ceiling, the roof. He said, let them go. But they're started. It's halfway through the day. He said, let them go. Pay all their wages and let them go. I'm about to depart this world. He knew. He had the sense. He was, Hajaga, Chera, mashallah, you're okay, you're good, you're healthy, what's wrong? What are you talking about? He said, no, I know what I'm talking about. Let them go. This is the first lesson. Pay them their wages. Even though they didn't finish the work. You're asking them to leave, pay them their wages, all of their wages, because you've asked them to leave. This is Islam. Anyway, he calls in this Hajaga and he gives him all the documents and the money and whatever. By the Wednesday, 2 days later, by the Wednesday, he falls ill. He gets sick. He could tell this. He falls ill, and so his daughter brings him Turbat al-Hussein, crushes it, puts it in water, and gives it to him. I don't want this. What is this? She goes, it's Turbat al-Hussein. So I said, okay, I'll drink it. He drank, and he says, oh Allah, bear witness that the last thing that I had, he's sensing it. The last thing that I had is the Turbat of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Anyway, he's looking around. Suddenly, he gets up. Despite his weakness, he gets up. He goes, Assalamu alayka ya Rasulullah. Assalamu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Assalamu alayka. And he goes, Ya Fatima al-Zahra. And he goes on and on. He even apparently said, Salam in Farsi, Salam Amma John. Zainab al-Kubra. Khush amadid. Assalamu alayka ya Zainab al-Kubra. Welcome. He said salam to each and every one of them. And then he passed away in this state. Remember we mentioned talqeen. Remember we mentioned that the tongue is a muscle, right? The tongue is a muscle. You need to train it with what? Dhikr. Dhikr of what? Whatever is ibadah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ali alayhi salam, Imam Hussein, whatever it may be. So that the last things you do, you're ready for it. Doesn't matter how hard it may be, you're ready for it. Another story. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I called Hajj Hashim today, and I said to him, I was mocking around. Sorry? Yes, I said, call me, urgent. Something urgent has come up. And said, this guy is panicking. And I was like, okay. So I thought he was panicking anyway. So I said, 1 sec, I'll call you. So I called him and said, Hajj, I can't do the talk tonight. I was kidding with him. I thought he'd say, oh no, why? What's wrong? It's like, no. He was so calm. He's like, that's okay. These are the jalasat of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. It will sort itself out. Very calm. Complete tawakkul ala Allah. And it was beautiful. It taught me, right? Brothers and sisters, I'm one of you. I'm learning. And I've learned from you, so I thank you for that. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, on the day of Ashura, gives a speech. Very brief. I'll just mention a few points. 3 points. Inshallah, we have time, and I think we do. 3 points that he mentions. Nothing different to what we spoke about, but summarized in nice 3 points. He says, Ayyuhan nas. Remember, this is the day of Ashura. In the afternoon, there's a massacre. This is on the day they're preparing. He says, Ayyuhan nas, O people, isma'u qawli, listen to me. Sam' istima', listen. We mentioned istima' before. وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنِ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَانصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. Listen to the Holy Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying it in the Holy Quran. Listen to the Holy Quran. If it's recited, listen. يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ ضُرِبَ مَثَلٌ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ. In the Holy Quran, there are plenty of examples. Listen to those examples. Take heed. فاتقوا الله ما استطعتم واسمعوا وأطيعوا وأنفقوا خيرا لأنفسكم. So beware of Allah as much as you can and listen and obey. Listen and obey. And spend in the way of Allah that is better for yourselves. Imam al-Hussein says, أيها الناس اسمعوا قولي ولا تعجلوا. Don't rush to my killing. Take it easy, slow down. Why? حتى أعظكم. So that I, what? So that I can recommend, advise you. Look, he is facing his enemies. Thousands of people. He's got a small minor army. He's facing thousands of people and he still wants to guide them. Islam is what? Guidance. Submission and guidance. If you submit, we will be guided, inshallah. This is the first point. حتى أعظكم. There's a story of Bani Israel. You all know this story. The story of the Saturday that you can't do any work. They were banned from fishing. So I thought, oh, let's be smart about this. Let's put the fish on one side and get, because of course it's a test, right? You're not allowed to fish on Saturday. Guess what? The fish came they didn't come, sorry. The fish did not come any day except Saturday. La ilaha illallah. And then they say, why is life so hard? Look at Bani Israel. They can't fish except on Saturday, and they're not allowed to fish. The fish didn't come. It's like they had an appointment. Saturday, let's go. So what did they do? What did they do? They put them aside and said, well, we're going to take these fish on the Saturday, and that's not called fishing because they're already on the side of the river. They're not in the river, so that's not called fish. They're trying to be smart about it, right? Like the rashwa, what are they called? What's rashwa? Bribery. Like bribery. Oh, let's call it a hadiyya. Let's call it a gift or something. Trying to be smart about things. Bani Israel, they were trying to be smart. Anyway, what did they fish on Saturday. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends the punishment upon them. He declares the punishment, which is what? That they turn to monkeys. All right? What's the ayah? Where's the Hafiz of the Quran? وَلَقَدْ عَلِمْتُمُ الَّذِينَ اعْتَدَوْا مِنْكُمْ فِي السَّبْتِ فَقُلْنَا لَهُمْ كُونُوا قِرَدَةً خَاسِئِينَ. Alhamdulillah, I managed to write this last second. And you knew of those of you who transgressed اعْتَدَوْا مِنْكُمْ فِي السَّبْتِ on the day of قِرَدَةً خَاسِئِينَ. So we said to them, be monkeys. So what happened there is a group of people went to give them advice. They went to give them advice. Another group said, why are you giving them advice? They're goners. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed that they need to be punished, and the punishment is this. Why do you bother? They said this is in the Holy Quran. قَالُوا they regret, just in case they reach a level of piety, just in case they're sorry. Brothers and sisters, we have to keep reminding each other, remind each other all the time. Sister, your hijab. Brother,